Hey y'all, this is Cyndee. I'm the Tireless Tangler. I want to welcome you back to our Fall Dance Fall ZIA creation series, and this is the fourth video in that. There may or may not be one more. Let's see what happens today. Today we're going to be adding the backgrounds both on the outside of the frame and on the inside of the frame. We're going to see what happens. I hope you will join me. So for the background today, I'm going to be using my Arteza brush pens in Thistle Purple. I love that name. And in cyanine or cyanine lean blue. It's a light blue. So most of this video is sped up. I'm going to talk you through the process. I am wanting a really soft background on this. I don't want it to be too interesting, although it ends up being decently interesting. So what I'm trying to do is get a soft color mix, and I am in the beginning working with my pens in certain ways and then figuring out that that's not going to give me the color. The most important thing I'm doing is using lots of water to begin with before I add any color, and that will help if we put the wet on dry paper, the wet color on dry paper. It tends to stay or at least give a demarcation line where you put that, and when you do it wet on wet, it's a lot softer. It tends to, you know, the color will flow out, and then as long as you get to it quickly enough with your aqua brush or your paint brush that's wet, then you can sort of spread it out with no problem, and your color mixes and such will be fine. Now at this point I was working with trying to get enough color to come out, and I was concerned about, again, having those demarcation lines or getting the color too deep or something like that. So I really started light, because remember, you can always add more color, but taking it away is a lot harder, okay? So I just went layer by layer, color by color, until I got it to about the place I wanted, and then I started working out from there. Now remember, if you didn't put your white pencil around the edges of this earlier when I did that, you're going to want to do that before you start, because you don't want the colors bleeding into what we've got on the leaves, okay? So basically, the first part of this video is going to be me doing the outer edges of this. I'm going to keep that light blue and with just hints of purple in it, and you can't really see the color as well here, but we're going to move back here in a minute and you're going to be able to tell, there we are, how that's going to look as I add more, okay? And of course the color depth, the hue and all of that you were putting in, that's entirely up to you. Sort of on the outside of the frame, I had in my mind, sort of like today in Oklahoma, it is bright, the sky is cloudless and it is bright blue, just a pretty fall day with a warm afternoon and a cool morning, and so that's kind of what I wanted for the outside of my frame. And on the inside of the frame, I'm going to try to do sort of a dark, stormy November night with, you know, rain imminent and that kind of vibe. We're going to see how that goes. Like I said, wait until you see my finished product, and then you decide what you're going to do on your own. Yours will be great no matter what you decide. I actually liked that with nothing on the inside, and I also considered treating the inside of that frame like a Zentangle tile and aura-ing the insides of the leaves and just tangling in the interim sections, in the interstices. But I decided to stay with sort of the, you know, pure outdoor feel with this instead of adding too much of that in. And we'll just leave the dark frame as a sort of quirky addition to this, and I think that's going to be okay. There's a couple of things I'd like to try with this that I didn't get to just go all out on, but I'm okay. This is going to turn out pretty well, if maybe not as bright as I had hoped as far as the overall. Once the shading is done, it gets a bit darker, but I really like it. It's fairly intense, and well, you'll see. You'll see. There's also going to be one more video, unfortunately, for you guys. You'll have to deal with me doing the shading and such. And then that will be the end of this. And we'll be done with voiceovers, and I can get back to doing some tangle explorations with you guys. We will see how that goes with the holidays. I will probably have a lot of extra time since I'll be here alone. And it'll be work time for me, hopefully. Hopefully I won't be in the depths of despair. It'll be fine. So I know a lot of you are dealing with some stuff right now, and I just want you to know that if I could hug you, I would. Sometimes we all need a hug. I don't ever get any. Well, I got some from my grandbabies today, so that was okay. Little Sally and little Javion, they are so sweet. Unless they want something they're not getting, in which case, then they're little hellions. No, those are my babies. But you guys know how toddlers are, or, well, post-toddler. I don't know what you call them when they're 4 and 5. Hellions. Oh, see, I had it all the time. So remember, water on your paper first, unless you're using poorer paper, and well, in that case, even more water on your paper first. The less quality your paper is, the harder it's going to be to get your color to spread out. So you want to make sure that you've got a nice layer of wet on there before you add your color. And then make sure on a test piece of paper that's like what you're going to be using, you test putting the colors on, using the water brush or paintbrush, whatever you're going to do, and try moving that pigment around on the paper and see how much trouble that's going to be for you. And you may decide to look at doing things a little differently. Like I said, colored pencils are always a nice option. So, work with the tools that you have, and don't worry about the tools that you don't, right? And just try to see this adding the pigment as relaxation. I love putting wet color on wet paper and watching it spread, and going in with my aqua brush and moving the pigment around. It's just very, very zenful and relaxing for me. So you may not feel the same way, but this is what it is. I will take this background in small sections. And there is a reason that I don't wet the entire piece down and then go back in and put my color in all over. It's because they're going to dry. The sections will dry before I get there. So little sections, add your water on the paper, add your color, smooth it out, and then move on to the next one. That works pretty well. Let me zoom in here a little bit for you guys. Well, I can't. When I go back through, I'll zoom in. But this is basically it. It's nothing fantastical, just our secret weapon is that white Prismacolor around the edges, right? And trust me when I tell you, when it comes to shading and putting the color down and having it stay, it still works. It's still fine. The white Prismacolor just keeps us from making a mess on the edges of what we were working on. And that's all. The color will still sit on top unless we wet it down and try to pick it up, in which case, Also, if you get the color darker than you like in a spot, or as in my case, I've got over there, I want to make it a little darker, just do you. You can add water and with your paper towel, pick it up, and each time you do that, you will pick up some of the pigment to make it lighter. And of course, darker, just put more water down and add more pigment and mush it around. move it around. So again, I'm not going very far. These are small sections that I'm doing. And see, I even wet more than that, but I don't want to let my pigment sit on there too long without spreading it out. Especially in those portions where I've got it on there pretty thick. I don't want it to stick to you know, to have demarcation lines. The puppy's over here talking to me. Oh, hey, no pillow mauling while mommy's on the video, okay? No mauling mommy's pillow. Okay. Okay, but no mauling. No. See, look, mommy's painting. Pretty, right? Am I pretty? Am I making pretty? Don't bite my nose. I will bite yours. Yes, I will. I have a rotten puppy with me today. Say hi, rotten puppy. Say hi, my name's Tangle. Rotten Tangle, yes. Okay. Go play with somebody else. Mommy's busy right now, bud. So I'm just, you know, putting in one color, putting in some of the other, seeing how that looks. You know, it's very intuitive. Do what you want. Do what you feel looks good. Now, I think I'm going to stop here pretty... Oh, I've still got this other section. I'm going to... Oh, okay, so make sure that you've put down your white pencil in all these little sections around your edges, okay, so that you don't get color wash in any of these. And make sure that when you lay down your color that you're using a brush where you can have some control over what's happening, okay? So this will be the most difficult part, is where we've got this little spiral thing going on. And so again, small sections, just do one section at a time, or one or two small sections at a time, and put down your water and put down your color and wash it all around and make it look the way you like. Remember, if you get it someplace you don't want it to be, just bring it out with your paper towel. If you get your watercolor in a place you don't want it, just don't panic. Get everything you can with your paper towel, and then add more water and use your paper towel even more to bring it out. Watercolor is pretty forgiving if you're careful with it. I am no expert. Don't learn watercolor from me, because again, not an expert. I just know from experience what I've learned, and so that's what I'm teaching you. I'm not saying I know anything. I'm just saying this is what works for me, and hopefully it will work for you. And if not, YouTube is a great place for learning about stuff. Thank goodness. I have an idea for a Christmas tile that involves watercolor that I want us to do. I need to look and see when the next project pack for Zentangle starts, the 12 Days of Christmas, and see when they're going to do that. Does that run right up to Christmas Eve or something, or how does that work? I'm not a very good CZT, am I? Terrible. Terrible. And just like there, I moved some of the extra color from one section over into another section, and there you go. Now, I'm just pushing and sort of wiggling my brush in order to cause the water to come out, and so that's sort of a Cyndee thing. And you know, you do it the way it's going to work for you. I don't want to give anybody the idea that that's proper technique, because that's just me. I'm just trying to encourage the water without actually, well, see there, I squeezed it. I wasn't getting enough water, and so eventually you have to squeeze it, but then dab it off before you put your brush down, because, yeah, you can get a lot of water that way, and if you're not watching, you can have some accidents. So I actually had trouble, the most trouble getting enough pigment to come out of my artisas. I find they work, seems like they do the best when you use when they are being blended with their own type, if that makes sense. It's not that they don't like the water, they actually do, but I usually get more pigmented when I'm working with the brush pens together with each other as opposed to thinning them out. So, you know, you know. Again, I'm new to a lot of this stuff, so I'm just showing you what I have figured out for myself, and if some of you have comments or helpful hints that will help the group, please feel free to share. I am never one that won't learn from somebody else, so if you've got a suggestion or a comment or a plan or anything else, then I want you to share that with me. And those of you who are Zenders, I want you to start leaving me comments about particular tangles that you might be having trouble with. This is the part where I am going to put in a stormy background, and you're going to see how that turns out. Please wait to do your own until you've seen my finished product. This is what I'm going to be doing in here, this dark sort of grayish violet feel, and we're going to see how it turns out. Now, I am using a Derwent Inktense pencil in violet today, and I'm using my General's Sketch and Wash graphite, washable graphite pencil, and my water brush, of course. So as I did with these outer edges, I'm going to be careful and add some water to the area that, well, not there, Cyndee. Add some water to the area that I'm working on. Let me get it started here. I got a fuzzy brush. There we go. There. Woo, that's a drippy brush. Oh, that's not good. Okay, let's try this one more time. What is making you drip? All right. Okay, that's better. Sometimes it just wants to be touched. Okay, so I'm going to wet my area just like I did on the background outside and try not to get any of this on my inner watercolor, because then we'll be mixing colors and that won't turn out nicely at all. And I'm especially going to be careful around the stem, although I did put the white Prismacolor around all of my edges. Okay. So I'm just sort of saturating my paper here so that I get a nice smooth finish. And then you can apply these in many different ways, okay? Because I like the sort of look that I get from this, then I'm going to do it like, I don't know, my explanations aren't working. I'm going to take the color from the tip of the pencil onto my aqua brush and just spread that around a little bit here. Ooh, that's a lot. Remember, I have wet this paper down, Cyndee. Try not to panic. Try really hard to keep it out of your frame. Now remember, a lot of this I should be able to lift up if I get it before it dries, since this is an Inktense pencil. So I don't want this dark stuff to dry over here. Although I am going to put, oh, that is violet too, isn't it? I am going to put some gray in there. So I know I've got a lot of water, and I'm going to dab it out here in just a minute. And if I have a little bit of extra pigment over here, I'm just going to drop it in. And again, with a care to not letting the edges of that dry, or they'll be permanently like that, right? Want to start with our edges where they're going to end up, if that Probably doesn't make any sense. So I'm just going to dab in a little more color here now that I've got the water really flowing. I'm just going to sort of dab down with my brush. Let a little bit of water out to play. And remember, this red here on the edges is or should be water fast. It may bleed a little bit if you don't get it good and dry. But hopefully I said that the last video. So this is going to be my technique to begin with. Just wet it down, add the watercolor. Try not to get it too far in the edges. If you're just using a regular watercolor pencil, if you're using watercolor in some other form, if you're using a Tombow marker. So there is, I think I mentioned last time, there's a technique you can do. You may have seen this, where you just put the, where's my pencil? Oh, right here. So you just put, this is the sketch and wash, you just put a layer of pencil down on something like, you know, metal or a glass plate or something like that. And then you can get the color from here with your aqua brush and add this in. Puppy, you're not helping me right now. You and River, cut it out. Now I can go back in with my red pen and sharpen all of that up, so I'm not too concerned about it yet. And because this area is so populated by other things, I'm gonna have to be pretty careful. River, no. No. I don't know what you're growling about, but quit being that way.
Come on.
So make sure you've always got a paper towel there. I think this is the sketch and wash, so I'm going to try to pull that up while it's still damp. There we go. Right here, depending on which one it is. Now, if you're not using an ink tints, then you'll probably be all right. Put some ink tints down there, so let's grab that up. Oops. There. We'll come back in after that gets a little more dry. So I'm going to go back to my purple or my violet, and we'll add in some more of that sketch and wash. Now, safety note, if you're taking color from the end of a pencil like I am, if you flick over that, you will leave flicks on your paper, so make sure that you're far away from your paper, unless you want little dots, in which case, mazel tov, right? And like I said, because we used that white pencil on here. By the way, Ellen from the Netherlands, who sent me the Derwent Color Soft set, those are lovely pencils. Now, I haven't gotten out my Prismacolors and my Faber-Castells and really done a comparison of them, but they are lovely. They're buttery soft. They just go down beautifully. And so I really enjoyed those. I have a feeling with that color scheme, I'll be using those a lot on Phi tiles or Renaissance tiles, and really enjoying those. Those are lovely. They're Derwent Color Soft, so that's the Derwent version of colored pencils, just regular colored pencils. Now, I haven't looked them up to see if they're wax-based. I'm assuming by the way they go on, they are. But they're lovely. Every bit as buttery soft as Prismacolors for sure. I just don't know from a price point whether they're the same, more expensive, or what. So I'm still going to look them up and get a little bit more information about them. But they are lovely to use. I really enjoyed just putting some swatches down. They just went on beautifully. And I was using this paper, so Not that this wouldn't handle whatever you're going to put on it. That's one reason why I really like my sketch pads to be the multimedia paper, right? It's because they can take water or not take water, and it's not a big deal. Okay, I need to get some of this color out. I was enjoying filling that up a lot, so forgot what I was doing. Whoops, come on, Cyndee. Remember, if you get it while it's wet, you can still lift it out. Remember to keep your brush clean. Now, in this area, I may enjoy some of these little harsher edges. We'll see. I'm going to go ahead and put at least a decent coating of the violet on here. And then I will start tapping in some gray and maybe some blue up in the upper sections. But again, don't do yours until you see how this turns out, because I can't make you any promises, right? I just squirting a little bit more water up into my barrel, so I've got a little bit more wetness in here. Like I said, Derwent stays. So, and that's not a bad thing. It's just something to remember. Now I'm accumulating quite a bit of water down there, so I want to make sure that doesn't run into my frame. So now towards this edge, I want it to be a little bit lighter, I think. So I'm just going to not add any more color and just sort of let the colors, whoops. Don't get it on the frame, Cyndee. And so just let the colors sort of fade. This is looking a little grayish, and that's going to be all right. We're going for a sort of a stormy look. Let's see what we got here. I don't want too much color up here, so dab a bit off. In this area, this is where I'll put just some hints of blue, so we get some kind of a transition here. Again, I do not know how this is going to look, so let me finish and see what you think, okay? Sometimes these experiments turn out nicely, and sometimes not so much. I'm not opposed to doing it over again, I just prefer not to. Well, I'm still going to tap some of that gray in there, so I think that'll be all right. All right. So we'll put a little blue in there, and that'll be fine. Turn this. Get my brush all nice and juicy. What you got to say, Simba? He says, hi, Jazzy. Hi, Lynn and Karma. Hi, Groot the kitty. And all the kitties and doggies out there in YouTube land. I know, I'm getting crazy with this stuff. So again, I'm just putting a layer down of water here so that I can make sure that when I drop the color in, it will spread nicely, right? And not just sit there. So with watercolor, and again, I am not trained in watercolor. I don't know what I'm talking about. I just know from my own experience, so please don't take my words out and say, Cyndee said this. Cyndee's an idiot. I think we can all agree. So on this part, the fading, the effect that I want is for the colors to sort of fade into each other and sort of look, work with me, stormy. So That's why I wet it down first. You can also do dry on dry, which means putting the dry water or just a wet colored, a full brush full of wet watercolor on dry paper. Or you can do dry on wet, which is, you know, sort of a dryish. Don't ask me. I know nothing. Just ignore me and pretend like you're going to do this with me, and whatever happens, it'll be fine. So wetting the paper down helps me not have lines. That's my story. Whew, that's kind of pretty. I like it. I'm going to have to find a new home for it, though. Come on, little colors. Come on. We'll just wash it down over here. See? Not so bad. The ink tints, as long as it's wet, you can move it around like watercolor. As soon as it's dry, no. It's no bueno, ma'am. Which, if you're doing something like this, is yes bueno, because then you can add your graphite color or your gray color. And if you're just using watercolors, just mix a bunch of colors together and make you a nice grayish, you know, watercolor wash, and you'll be fine. Use that instead of the graphite, or you can dry your watercolors and then use graphite pencil on that section, and blend it out like we normally do. So whatever you want to try with whatever supplies you have is going to be fine. Okay, I'm going to have to get some of this color up over here. That is some color. That's going to be a very stormy area, I can tell. I might even try to put a jelly roll highlight in here, or maybe a lightning. Ooh, see the fun we could get into by doing this stuff? But don't ruin yours yet. Let's see how mine turns out. Don't ruin yours yet. Wow, Cyndee, that's positive. So it's been a tough weekend, guys. This whole eating a low potassium thing, that sucks. Potassium's in everything. All the healthy stuff I try to do for myself, it's got potassium in it. Leafy green vegetables, you know, good fruits, you know, whole grains, nuts, seeds, everything. It's terrible. I just want to say no. So I'm trying to watch my intake. Even my dairy, I mean, oh my God. How do they expect me to live like that? You know, I can eat enriched white bread and rice. I mean, really? Come on. How is woman supposed to live on that? I think the answer is we're not. So anyway, I have been mentally and emotionally out of whack this week because I am trying to find a way to live with my new reality. And of course, I've got to go in and have more blood work done this week, and I'm not excited about that. I'm trying to wait an extra day so I can, you know, have better numbers and such, and they can tell me I can just be careful, and that's what I want. Whether or not I'm going to get that, I don't know, but apparently this whole thing comes with heart attacks and problems like that, and I'm not trying to leave my baby, so let's not. All right, little Inktense pencil, come on. Wait, this is too dark. What am I doing? Well, that one didn't smooth out, but again, that's why you put it wet on wet, right? Put the water down first and spread it out. We'll have to get a little graphite or a little blue over here to make it interesting. All right, now let's clean up my inked edges here. And again, you can come in here with your red marker after you're done. But if it's dark or if it's Inktense, God forbid, then you're going to want to clean that up as rapidly as you can. All right, so now I'm going to come in with my graphite pencil, my Sketch and Wash from Generals, and I'm going to just add in little bits. So I'm just using the edge of this, and this is a really blunt pencil, and I'm just in little circles adding this gray. My intent is for it to look really stormy on one side and then sort of graduate to something lighter over there. Of course, I got that big clump that's driving me nuts now. Now, I feel pretty good about putting this on top of the ink tints once it's dry, because I know that's not going to move, or at least for the most part, it's not going to move. Okay, let's put a little in here. I do like doing these videos with you guys without the voiceovers. I am not good at those. Plus, this way I can sort of get zenned. All right, let's start in with this and see how it goes. Again, I can lift a lot of it out if I need to. It should make us a nice dark stormy look. And again, I'm just pressing and moving in little circles. If you're new to aqua brushes, there is a learning curve, but oh my God, they're so nice once you get used to them. And I can always add more if I need. And I can lift it out if I don't want so much. And if I do it in this way with the little circles and then just the adding water like this, then I think I'm going to get a result that I'm pleased with. At least, knock on wood. Knock on wood. Again, wait to see how mine turns out. Then you can decide for yourself what you're going to do. I do like that down there, really dark. The dark, stormy stuff that came from Jessica, and the idea for that came from Jessica and my Tori. She's such a good girl. She's so wonderful to me. She's been over at her house cooking chicken and rice for me, because enriched rice, right? How am I supposed to eat a heart-healthy and diabetes-healthy diet like that, I ask you? All right. Now, don't worry about any of this edging stuff. Yes, it's going to have to be cleaned up. So unless you've got ink tints like I do on your edges, you should be able to lift most of that out. And I still plan to really give this a good shading with a regular graphite pencil, so we are not even done yet. I know you guys are ready to skip to the end. Next time I do a longer format series like this, I think I will do that differently. I was in a hurry to get it out for you guys, and I should have done it the way I usually do, just, you know, and then gotten it all together and then released it all at once so that you guys could have it at whatever speed you wanted. But this is what we got this time, and each one of these is a learning experience, so I'm going to hold this out for a minute and see what I think of it so far. Okay, well, I don't hate it, so that's good. All right, let me get some more charcoal, or, you know, gray stuff, Sketch and Wash stuff. And these little tins are great for this kind of thing, for watercolor washes and stuff. They rinse right out. I'm definitely going to have to sharpen that up there. Now, once this is dry, it'll be lighter, so I may come in after it's dry and dab in more of the violet color, dab in more of the Sketch and Wash, I'm not sure. But remember, it'll all come up if you get too much, or mostly. So go easy on yourself. Don't forget your white pencil, and if you'll notice, none of that white pencil we did is keeping me from putting color or the Sketch and Wash around these bases, right? It's when I add water and rub it off. That's when it's going to lift up. So you don't have to worry about that. Okay, so in this area, I want to find my cyanine blue one, my Arteza brush pen. And again, you can use whatever you want. If you've got all Tombos, that'll work. If you've got all something else, that'll work. Just do what's going to work for you and your supplies. So again, this stuff will make lines if I'm not careful. So I'm definitely going to tap in some water here. Get this stuff sort of mixing up. Ooh, that's bright. And so that should be pretty close to, let's put some down here. See what we do with that. Get some of that out, that's for sure. Although that might be an okay look with that dark and the Sketch and Wash blue. And I frequently do the little circles and the smushing thing. So that's sort of my way of getting a soft surface. This is something I learned to do when I was trying to figure out how to do gems, Zen gems. So this is kind of my thing, and I don't know if that's right technique or not, but there you go. Well, that's not what I want. Didn't I put water on that? All right, let's get more water. Well, we're going to have to even that out, aren't we? And hopefully any little weird drying imperfections like this one up here will just look stormy and it'll be fine. Hopefully. That's what we're going to do. There, that's pretty. There, that's nicer. There. Okay, I'm digging this. I'm pretty sure it'll look better once we get to the shading and such. I reserve the right to add or subtract stuff, although the ink tints is going to stay where it is, probably. Whoops, wrong one. So that's what we're going for. All right, so this is where I'm stopping with the paint. Now on to the finishing up touches for the whole thing. So we're going to do line reinforcement and shading and all of that kind of stuff. And just let this sit for a while and see what I think about it, okay? So I'm going to see you soon. Come back soon. Okay? Bye.